Hello, and welcome to Around the Boxes, episode number 9. Hello. Greetings and good afternoon. Welcome back Around the Boxes. This is, of course, my weekly live stream series where we hang out around my boxes of comic books and talk about all things comic book related, whether that's collecting, whether that's reading. In the scenario today, we're actually talking about movies because today is the last day before all of our lives change, because tomorrow Spider-Man No Way Home comes out, and you already know I'm freaking excited, guys. So we're gonna be talking about that today, among the usual things. I of course have my pickups as always, my new comic book pickups, but today, for this very special pre-No Way Home episode, I have amassed a pile of comic books from my collection in celebration of No Way Home, because of course, as I'm sure you guys know, No Way Home is going to feature a bunch of Spider-Man villains played by the classic actors who portrayed them before. So that is what I have amassed, is a pile of comic books featuring those villains from my collection. So we're going to go through and look at some of those. I thought it'd be cool to kind of dive into those, show you guys some of the books in my collection featuring some of these iconic villains. So we'll be going through that in this episode. But hello and welcome. Greetings. I'm very excited to be here. Rocking my new hoodie. I don't know, this is 100 Thieves X Halo. This is gaming related, not quite comic book related, but this came in the mail today. I'm very excited about it. If you don't know, I basically grew up playing Halo. Halo 2 was like my first, what's the word? It was my first video game, really. And so Halo Infinite is awesome, and 100 Thieves, which is an awesome gaming organization, they did a crossover with Halo for this apparel drop. I'm just going to show it off for a second here. You got Master Chief, 100 Thieves logo in the Halo font. Energy Sword, it's called the Energy Sword hoodie. So we got the Energy Sword, the 100 Thieves, again. The best part, though, I'm going to kind of step up for a second here. Right here. Heck yeah. You got Energy Sword, and of course, Master Chief on the back. So, reppin' Halo properly today. But if I had a cool Spider-Man hoodie, I would have worn that, but I don't have one. I should get one. I really want to get one, but I don't have one, so. But, yeah, welcome back to Around the Boxes. If you guys have not been keeping up with my channel, let me just show you what's going on over here. Let me get this up here. If you head over to my channel, DEA Comics, first of all, I made a new header. I was pretty happy with that, so you should go check that out. But there's us. But right down here, you see this tab, Webheads Comic Club. You guys should check that out, man. A lot of you have, and I appreciate that. This is our new podcast. We're 2 episodes in. We have new episodes every single Monday, as it states right up here. New episodes every Monday, and new episodes of Around the Boxes every Wednesday. So this is me and JP Creations going through, reading every single issue of Amazing Spider-Man, and doing kind of like a comic book club. So we discuss them in each issue. You should go and check it out, because we're putting a lot of work into that, a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of care and passion going into that, and I would really appreciate it if you guys could check that out. So that's kind of what's going on right now, and then of course the usual Around the Boxes. That's been around for a while now. You guys know what's going on with that, but also, in case you didn't notice, I have started uploading some shorts over here on YouTube, as well as over on, that's right, TikTok. You should go follow me on TikTok. I finally caved and made one, because I figured I should. So go ahead and follow me there. I post shorts from Webheads currently, but I have plans to do more stuff down the line. I'm going to upload some shorts from Around the Boxes. I'm going to make some specifically, like content specifically for TikTok. I mean, small things, right? Like I'll do like top 10 comics in my collection and just kind of go through them and show them off there. So if you have TikTok, you want to go and follow me, it's at @DA_comics. I haven't added it to my links yet. Maybe I should. I guess I could probably get rid of the DA Comics one, considering you're currently watching that channel. So maybe I'll put my TikTok there for next week. But so go and follow me there. But that's kind of my new updates. I made a TikTok and we started the podcast. And that is available at a lot of different places. It's available on YouTube, of course, if you want to watch video and see our faces. But it's also available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. So any of those 3, if you like listening to your podcast there, you can go and check it out there. And I would love if you guys would check that out. If you do listen to it on Apple Podcasts, leave a 5-star rating. I don't know if Google has a rating system. I know Spotify doesn't, but if any of them do, give it a 5-star rating, or give it a rating for how you feel about it, which, you know, make it 5-star. Make it 5-star. But that's what's going on the channel, guys. Lots of exciting stuff. You know, I told you a while ago I was working on a lot of cool things. This was one of the big ones that we were really working on trying to get out, because it's really exciting, and it's going to be an awesome, awesome series for years to come. I mean, we have a lot of Spider-Man comic books to get through, so we have a lot of time with that. And then, of course, Around the Box is right here every single Wednesday. So appreciate you guys tuning in, whether you're here live, whether you're here watching it as a video down the line. Appreciate you. If you do watch these Around the Boxes episode, it really means the world to me if you can hit that like button. That really helps me to gauge interaction with you guys, and you know, whether you guys are enjoying my content or not. So if you do enjoy this, I really appreciate if you hit the like button, and of course comment down below, man. I want to interact with you guys. You know, thoughts on comic books, thoughts on everything. I mean, the No Way Home hype is real today, so let me know. You know, are you guys going? Do you have tickets? Are you going? I have my tickets. I'm going tomorrow night. I'm going in about 27 hours, so we are 27 hours away from No Way Home right now, and I'm freaking excited. Before I dive into the comics, I just want to talk about it a little bit. No Way Home is going to be the best Spider-Man movie ever. I mean, it is positive feedback all around. Let me see what it's on now. When the reviews first started coming in for it, for a while, Rotten Tomatoes, what is going on? It had 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. It looks like now it's down to 95%, which is still very, very, very good. That's still really good. But that is awesome. So it's looking like it's going to be really good. But more importantly for me, I feel like my phone is buzzing now. Oh my gosh. Sorry. Give me a second. Got to get rid of this thing. I'm just so excited. So I'm going with a couple of friends in town, and they, one of them had never seen any of the Spider-Man movies. And they told me this like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, you can't go to No Way Home without seeing those movies. I forbid it. It's not allowed. You can't be my friend without seeing those movies. So the last week we've been watching every single Spider-Man movie, like every single day. We watched Spider-Man 1, 2, 3, Amazing Spider-Man 1. Yesterday we watched Amazing Spider-Man 2, and then tonight, immediately after this stream, I'm going to watch Spider-Man Homecoming and Spider-Man Far From Home. So I'm on like a Spider-Man movie marathon right now. So I am ready to go for No Way Home. I could not be more excited, and I will definitely have lots of thoughts on it here on the channel. I'll probably make a video talking about it, but more importantly, we will of course discuss it on the next episode of Around the Boxes. So this is our kind of pre-No Way Home excitement stream. Next week, we will of course be talking about it and all of our thoughts on it, and I will have some guests, possibly. So look forward to that next week, possibly having some guests on the stream to talk about our thoughts on No Way Home. And then, and we'll also mention it on the next episode of Webheads, of course, as well. So look forward to that. But I'm super excited. I think it's just going to be awesome. And at this point, I am 99% sure that Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire are going to be in it. I feel like there's no way that they're not in it. I mean, given the way Marvel has been teasing us and kind of taunting us with it and being like, oh, 2 special guests, like kind of teasing, I feel like there's no way they aren't in it, because they would just be setting themselves up for failure by getting everybody's hopes up. And I've managed to avoid spoilers completely online. I've been careful about going on Twitter. I've been careful about going on YouTube, because I've had movies spoiled in the past through, like, the YouTube homepage will just show me a video from the movie. It actually almost happened for Spider-Man. I saw it, and it said, Spider-Man leaked whatever, and I saw, like, briefly Toby or someone. It looked exactly like the set photos I had seen already, so I didn't see anything new necessarily, but it was clearly a video and not a picture, but I just immediately closed out of it, because I was like, I don't want to see this. I really just want to go in fresh, but I can't wait. When they appear on the screen and the music kicks in, like when Tobey Maguire's classic Danny Elfman Spider-Man soundtrack kicks in and he's on screen, I'm just gonna sob like a baby. I mean, this is my childhood right here. So I'm living good this year, man. My childhood is coming. I mean, we've got Halo back. We've got Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire back. We got, like, everything I grew up with is just popping this year, so I'm very excited. But from there, let's go ahead and dive into some comic books. I've rambled on long enough. I'm going to show you guys my pickups for this week. Not a lot of comics, just a few. Kind of a smaller week, but that is okay. Coming up on Christmas, so buying a lot of Christmas gifts. So don't really have as much money to be blowing on comic books, and I dropped a pretty penny on this hoodie. So this was my Christmas gift to myself, was this hoodie. So, but diving into this week's books, first one that I picked up today, I was not planning on, but I saw it on the shelf and I said, yeah, why not? It's Batman 118. The reason I picked this up, as I've mentioned in previous episodes of Around the Boxes, I have been wanting to get back into some DC Comics. I used to pick up DC Comics back in the day, but I just was super intimidated by them because none of them seemed very accessible. There wasn't a good jumping on point. I didn't know what was going on. They were all in super high issues, not very new reader friendly. But this one, I mean, it clearly says a new chapter begins, and upon looking further into it, this is the beginning of a new creative team on Batman. So I saw that as a perfect opportunity. There's no better time than this to jump onto the series, and Batman has always been my favorite DC character. So I decided to pick it up and try getting the book for a few issues and see if I can pick it up and understand what's going on. My thoughts on this issue? It was pretty good. I wasn't too confused. I mean, they were obviously alluding to recent events in the comic that I did not read, but they were kind of just going like, oh, all of that stuff is over now, and then starting a new story. So I was able to follow it for the most part, but I think I just need to give it a few issues, and then I'll really understand what's going on. So I didn't love it or hate it. I will pick up the next one, and we'll go from there and see how it goes. Next, speaking of not knowing what's going on, we got Hulk, number 2, Legacy 769. I had the same complaint with this issue as I did with the first one, which is that I have no idea what the heck is going on, which is a big, big problem. I understand that it's because I didn't read or I didn't finish Immortal Hulk. I'm still working on reading through that run, and I know that if I finish the entirety of Immortal Hulk, I'll probably understand what's going on in this series a little bit better. But that kind of defeats the whole point of a new series. I mean, if you're starting at issue number 1, it should be a good jumping on point. It should be a point where someone who has not read a single Hulk comic can jump in and be able to understand what's going on because you introduce them to the characters, you introduce them to what's going on. And I feel like this book just immediately, it threw you in the middle of the action, and I'm just very confused. I mean, I kind of understand. It's Bruce Banner within like a mind palace within the Hulk, and he's doing some weird things, but I have no idea the context of how he got here. I have no idea the science of how any of that works. I don't understand why he's doing it. I don't understand any of that. So it's good. I mean, the art is good, so it's enjoyable to look at. It's enjoyable to read. I really want to keep picking it up. Like, I'm not going to drop it anytime soon because Donny Cates is my favorite writer right now, and Ryan Ottley's a great artist, and Hulk is a really cool character. So I really, really, really want to love this series, and I feel like it's probably very good, but I need to finish Immortal Hulk to really understand what's going on. So, I mean, any Hulk readers out there, let me know in the comments if you read the entirety of Immortal Hulk and you're picking this series up. What are you guys thinking of it? I'm curious if it's just me who's kind of lost and confused, or if everyone kind of feels that maybe they're not doing a great job for new readers. I'd love to hear your thoughts because I don't know how to feel about it. I'm still looking forward to each issue. I'm still, I'm on board. I'm on board with it, but I'm just kind of lost, to be honest. And then the last new book I picked up this week, I picked up some back issues as well, is Amazing Spider-Man 81. Miles Morales Spider-Man 33 also came out this week, but my store didn't have it, which is just great. So I did not pick that up. They seem to sell out of that book a lot. I've missed a lot of Miles Morales issues, so I'll have to try and find that somewhere else or buy it online or something. But I did pick up this issue, which is Legacy 882. And it features Ben Reilly and Miles Morales crossing paths, kind of a one-off story. And it was good. It wasn't great. I would say ranking it compared to all of the other Beyond issues, it's probably middle of the pack, maybe even lower end. Saladin Ahmed's probably one of my lesser favorite writers on the Beyond team. I've never really liked his writing too much. I've read the Miles Morales book for a while, and I haven't liked his writing too much on that. But it was good. I mean, it didn't really do much, though. It didn't expand on much of the story. It kind of just filled in the gaps between this and the next issue when Dr. Octopus is going to start doing things and Peter's going to start doing things and all of that. So, yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed it. It's a cool cover. And, yeah, not much for me in regards to that. But otherwise, I mean, continuing it good. It wasn't bad is what I'll say. It wasn't amazing, but it wasn't bad. So I liked it, and I will continue picking it up because it's Spider-Man, and I'm not dropping it anytime soon. Now, I picked up some back issues. Well, modern back issues. I picked up some more Amazing Spider-Man modern back issues, just continuing to fill in the collection. I got Amazing Spider-Man 548. It's another brand new day issue, which I don't have a lot of. So adding to that, it's a pretty cool cover. I like it. With the timer in the background, and then he's got the bomb. I have no idea what happens in this issue. I did not read it, but it's interesting. And then we got 551, so a couple issues later, with Menace and the moon in the background. Cool cover. Then I got Amazing Spider-Man 656 with the stealth suit, I think that is, or the armor. I don't know what it is, but this is right before when I started picking up Spider-Man, so getting close to my run there, but not quite. And then the last book I picked up this week, I saw it at my comic store, and I said, yeah, what the heck, I'll get it. It's Amazing Spider-Man 694 with Alpha. Got it for cover price, so figured whatever. But trying to extend my Volume 2 run, because I have it from 695. I think this is either 695 or 696, so I needed to get this to keep working my way backwards. So I saw it at my comic store, and I said, man, what the heck, I'll pick it up. I do like how this cover is a cover swipe of the Marvel DC crossover, which I'll look it up. Spider-Man, Superman comic. This one here. It's a cover swipe of this comic. I think that's pretty cool. It's got the Battle of the Century and all of that, the greatest superhero story of all time. So it's cool. I like a good cover swap, so that's always fun. So as far as the story of this, I remember I did read this issue digitally a while ago, and I don't really like Alpha. I think most people don't like Alpha. He didn't stick around for long anyway, so it didn't matter too much. But it was just kind of an interesting story, but nothing too crazy. So. From there, let's dive into some old comic books, shall we? So I have poured through my collection, and I have amassed this pile of comic books featuring the many villains that are going to be in No Way Home. So I wanted to go through these and showcase some of these books for you. So going through, first I have some comics featuring the Sandman. Now, I was looking for comics in my collection that had Sandman, and I didn't have a lot. There are a few that appear later in the pile because they also had other villains in them. But as far as just Sandman, I actually only have a couple, at least that he was on the cover of. There might be others that I don't remember him being in or that I haven't read. But the first one, of course, is Amazing Spider-Man issue number 19. This was actually the first Silver Age comic book that I ever bought. It's cover detached, but otherwise it displays pretty well. Classic Steve Ditko cover, but this features the Sandman, issue 18 and 19, and the Enforcers, which if you've seen the most recent episode of Webheads, we read Amazing Spider-Man issue 10, which is the first appearance of the Enforcers, and I actually really liked the Enforcers in that issue, so it's interesting that they're back in this one. But we will be reading this issue in a couple of weeks on Webheads, so you can tune into that when the time comes, but for now, we're going to move past that. The only other one I found that featured Sandman was issue 615. So a bit of a time jump there. But that's obviously got Sandman on the cover there. So small appearance in the comic books, small appearance in the movie. It works. Now, the other villain appearing in No Way Home is Lizard. So I have some comics featuring the Lizard. The first one is issue 44. I think this is the third appearance of the Lizard. Might be the second. I'm not sure, but this copy is actually in pretty good condition. I mean, you can see it displays really, really well. Good colors, and it's got a bit of, the pages are pretty brown, but the cover itself displays really well. And then it's immediately followed up by issue 45. So there's a two-parter there. It's second and third, or third and fourth appearances of the Lizard, which we just read his first appearance in episode 2 of Webheads as well. So very much like that. One interesting thing about this copy, which I think is kind of cool, I don't know if it'll show up on the camera, but right here in pencil is written 11/17, which is my birthday. So it's like it was destined for me. But featuring continuing iconic Lizard comic books, you can't not mention issue 313. We actually talked about this cover in the Webheads. Classic McFarlane art. Beautiful, beautiful cover. I really like this Lizard look more so than the classic Steve Ditko, like flat-faced look. I like when he has a bit more of a snout. Beautiful, beautiful comic there with Lizard. But now, those are the minor characters. Well, not all of them. Oh yeah, those two are kind of more minor in No Way Home. At least it seems that's the case. Now let's talk about Electro. Electro, as you guys know, is one of my favorite villains. And we just read his first appearance in Webheads, and I can show you here. Amazing Spider-Man, issue number 9, first appearance of Electro. This was the first single-digit Spider-Man book that I ever picked up. Way, way, way back in the day. Cover is detached on this as well. So pretty low grade, but it displays beautifully. I mean, it looks awesome. But classic, iconic cover. You love it. And then jumping ahead, I have Amazing Spider-Man 369, which featured Electro. Featured Electro. Mark Bagley art on that. Love, 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 love Mark Bagley's art. Then we go into some later books. We got 422 with Electro. This was the book that actually sold me on the late 90s Spider-Man comics, because I always, growing up, I never liked these. Like, the highest I went was around 380s, and then anything past that, I was like, I don't know. But I remember I had this book, and I read it, and I actually really liked the story, and that was when I started buying more 400s comic books. So I had 423, which is also Electro-cuted. And then I don't have 424, but I have 425, which does not have him on the cover, but features Electro in that one as well. So, love that. Then we have a more modern appearance of Electro in Amazing Spider-Man issue number 2. He was also in 1 and 3 and 4 and 5, but this one has him on the cover. And this one came out right around when Amazing Spider-Man 2, the movie, came out. So it's issue number 2, came out around the same time as movie number 2, which had Electro in it. That's why they have the blue lightning. And this is, of course, signed by Humberto Ramos. You saw this a couple of weeks ago when I was showing my signed comic book collection. If you want to check that out, that is on the channel. You can go right over here to my YouTube channel, scroll down to Around the Boxes, and it is in this episode right here. So you can go and check that out if you want to see my signed comic book collection. Now, the majority of these comic books are for the main two villains in No Way Home. The first one we gotta mention, it's my favorite villain. Well, one of my favorite villains of all time. And of course, it's Dr. Octopus. First comic book you gotta show is Amazing Spider-Man issue number 3. First appearance of Dr. Octopus, signed by Stan Lee. I mean, this is one of my prized possessions, and having him appear in another movie, of course, just drives the value of this thing up. I can confirm I checked recently, because there was a pinup in this comic book that encouraged readers to cut it out. So it's pretty valuable if you can have the pinup in your book. This does not have the pinup. I did confirm that, but I don't really care. This is more of an emotional, sentimental possession for me, and of course having it signed by Stan Lee is awesome. So I would love to get a higher grade copy at a later date, but it's never going to top, being signed by the man himself. Stan Lee. I'm gonna put that over there. Just keep it nice and safe. Now the next comic book I have, I wish I had 11 or 12. I want both of those books really bad. Those are on my watch list. But the next one I have with Dr. Octopus is actually 54. Got Dr. Octopus, Aunt May. Love this cover. Great cover. And a classic Silver Age appearance of Dr. Octopus. And then from there we jump forward to a iconic storyline, The Return of the Sinister Six, which actually features Dr. Octopus and Electro. In part 1, you have part 2. Love these covers. I love the purple on this cover. It looks so good. 336, which is part 3, features the Vulture. And then 337, you can see Electro, Sandman, and Dr. Octopus all on this cover, and Mysterio and Vulture, who have also appeared in the MCU, but not seemingly not in No Way Home. Maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe they're in it. And then, of course, Hobgoblin, which we have not seen yet. 338. And then 339, part 6, featuring Doc Ock on the cover there. Continuing forward, we have issue 398, Web of Death, with Doc on the cover there. And then 406 is a little bit different of a Dr. Octopus. It is the Lady Dr. Octopus. I know nothing about this character, didn't stick around for long, but I was going through my collection. I was like, technically it features Dr. Octopus, so I should probably show it in this. From there, we make a big jump to issue 676, which was when I was picking up modern Spider-Man books. This is the Sinister Six in this one, obviously featuring a slightly different Dr. Octopus. I would love to see this version of Doc in a movie. Specifically, I would love to see a movie adaptation of Ends of the Earth, because Ends of the Earth is a really cool storyline featuring Doc Ock dying, of course. And I would love to see a movie adaptation of Ends of the Earth ending with Dying Wish. I think if they kind of combined the two, they did Ends of the Earth and then Dying Wish, as kind of the act 3 of the movie, I think that would be really awesome. And then you could do a Superior Spider-Man movie, which I think would be really cool to do. I know not everyone is a fan, but I am. So we got Dying Wish, 698, 699. This is, of course, when Dr. Octopus switched his consciousness with Peter Parker's, putting Peter Parker in the dying body of Dr. Octopus and allowing Octavius to run amok as Spider-Man. This obviously culminated in issue 700, The Death of Peter Parker. I have my copy signed by Humberto Ramos, and this was when they began Superior Spider-Man, which technically Superior Spider-Man is all Dr. Octopus appearances, but I'm not going to show my entire collection of Superior Spider-Man because I have every issue. But I did have some in the next section, which is for the other villain in No Way Home, which is Green Goblin, who we all love. Green Goblin, of course, iconic villain. We're reading his first appearance in the next episode of Webheads, so tune in Monday. Just saying. But my first appearance that I have of him is 17. So I do not have the first appearance of Green Goblin. I have the second appearance of Green Goblin, which is still pretty cool. Still very cool. So love this comic book. One day I will own the first appearance, but that day is not yet. So for right now I have that. And then I have issue 26, which also has the Green Goblin in it. And 27, Bring Back My Goblin to Me. And then iconic Green Goblin cover, issue 40. Had this one for a long time. Pretty rough condition, but beautiful cover. Love that. John Romita art. Just awesome. The next one I have is issue 98, which is one of the drug issues. You'll notice it doesn't have the Comics Code Authority on it anywhere. That is because, if you do not know, which I'm sure most of you know, but Stan Lee wrote these stories, and it featured Harry Osborn struggling with drug use. And the Comics Code Authority said, you can't do that. You can't have drugs in it. And Stan thought the story was so important that it needed to be printed, and so he printed it without the Comics Code stamp on it. So it was this issue, 96 and 97. None of those had the Comics Code on it, and that was the first time that happened in a long time, before the Comics Code was later disbanded. Well, I don't think it's actually disbanded. I think just no one uses it anymore. But that's an iconic issue. And then, of course, Amazing Spider-Man 122, The Death of Green Goblin. This copy is CGC 6.5. CGC this myself. My mom bought me this comic book, actually, for my birthday, like, years ago. I was in high school. She just found it at an antique store for, like, $40, and she got it for me, and I opened it up, and I was like, where did you get this from? And she was like, oh, I bought it at an antique store. Is it a good one? And I was like, yeah, it's a good one. And it was in pretty good condition, so I sent it into CGC. Came back 6.5, and I'm very, very happy with that, because I thought it was about a 6.5, so if it had come back like a 4, I would have been pretty disappointed, but happy with the 6.5. But obviously a very important Green Goblin issue. And then after that point, I mean, he dies in that, so after that point, it's Harry Osborn Green Goblin. I figured it wouldn't make any sense to be showing those comics, because obviously it's Norman Osborn in No Way Home. So from there, we're going to jump forward to another big, for me, and reading modern Spider-Man comic books, the first time that I had a Green Goblin storyline in the modern comic books was in Superior Spider-Man, which is also Dr. Octopus. So this is Dr. Octopus versus Green Goblin in Goblin Nation. This was Superior Spider-Man 27, Superior Spider-Man 28, 29, and then 30, which could technically be considered the death of Dr. Octopus, depending on how you look at it. And then, of course, it's also the return of Peter Parker, and then you have 31, the series finale, and when Peter Parker comes back and then faces off against Green Goblin. Now, another big event going forward in time, we, of course, have Go Down Swinging, which was the end of Dan Slott's run featuring Green Goblin. Love this cover, Green Goblin. And then the end of this issue was the first appearance of the Red Goblin, which is, of course, Green Goblin wearing the Carnage symbiote, which is awesome. I did really, really think that was cool. I'm glad it didn't last. I'm glad it was just for this one-off as like a cool thing. But I thought it was cool. And then issue 800, massive issue. Featuring Red Goblin and a lot of stuff happening, so that was a big deal. Now, those are all of the villains. Well, is that all of them? Yeah, those are all the villains appearing in No Way Home, but I grabbed a couple more comics that I wanted to go over, because there's something else supposedly happening in No Way Home. I mean, I believe it's happening, but I don't know for sure until I go see it tomorrow. But that's, of course, the live-action Spider-Verse, right? Not Spider-Verse, but the appearance of Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland all on the screen together as their own respective versions of Spider-Man, which the whole concept of a Spider-Man crossover all goes back to Spider-Verse, which we all think of the animated movie Into the Spider-Verse, but what that was inspired by was the original comic SpiderVerse, written by Dan Slott, which, if anything, this is probably the largest contribution Dan Slott made to the Spider-Man mythos, because the Spider-Verse series obviously laid the groundwork for Into the Spider-Verse, which was a massive movie, for No Way Home, which is going to be an even more massive movie. So we got to give him credit where it's due. So I have every issue of Spider-Verse. This was part 1. This was, of course, the comic book Spider-Man crossover. Very different. If you have never read this and you've only watched the movies, it's totally different. The villains in this are the Inheritors. It's kind of like a royal family of people who hunt Spider-Men across the multiverse, and they all kind of assemble to fight them. But Spider-Verse Part 2, featuring the Superior Spider-Man. And then Part 3, love this cover. You have Peter Parker versus Superior Spider-Man. Part 4, these are the Inheritors, if you wanted to see what they look like. Very weird. Spider-Verse Part 5, featuring, you'll recognize some of these characters. We got Peter Parker, Miles Morales, Spider-Gwen, Spider-Ham, Superior Spider-Man up there. There's Spider-Punk. In the background, there's Mayday, Spider-Woman, or Spider-Girl, I think, at this point. And then, who's that last one? Oh, Captain Britain, Spider-Man, Spider-UK. And then Scarlet Spider is Kane right here up the front. And I'm not sure who that one is. I think it might be the Spider-Monkey. So, all the different versions of Spider-Man on there. And then you have Part 6, which was the final part of SpiderVerse. And then the epilogue right there. So, that is the run that kind of inspired the whole idea of this Spider-Man crossover. It's obviously where Spider-Verse got its name from, and it's just an iconic comic book. But yeah, I thought it'd be fun to go through those comics. I wanted to show you some of the inspirations behind this movie in case you weren't aware of them, because this movie is going to be so good. I cannot wait. I am so excited. As far as predictions, oh man, what predictions do I have? I hope Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are going to be in more of the movie than people expect. I think based on leaks and stuff, everyone just kind of thinks they're going to show up for Act 3 at the Statue of Liberty, and that's possible. And even if that happens, I'll be happy, but I might be a little bit disappointed because I don't just want to see them show up and fight. I want to see them interact. I want to see them talk. I want to see Tobey Maguire give Tom Holland a pep talk, like be almost a mentor, be an older, wiser Spider-Man. And I'd love to learn more about what's happened in their respective universes. What's happened in the Sam Raimi verse, what's happened in the Amazing Spider-Man verse, like what since their movies before now. Like I'd love to dive into those characters, so I really hope they do that. And what I would really love to see, and I've said this before, and I know 10 years ago they wouldn't have done this because it would have been too confusing for audiences, but we live in a world now where the Marvel Cinematic Universe is massive, and now it's becoming a Marvel Cinematic Multiverse, both with this and with Loki and WandaVision and all this stuff. I would love to see them go from this movie and make a new Tom Holland trilogy. That they've already confirmed that they're doing that, and that's great. And then make Spider-Man 4, directed by Sam Raimi, featuring Tobey Maguire. Make Amazing Spider-Man 3, directed by Mark Webb, starring Andrew Garfield. Continue those universes. I think that would be awesome. I think they could do it. I mean, they have a movie establishing all three of these characters existing in a cinematic multiverse, so they can do it. There's nothing stopping them from doing it. I don't think it would confuse audiences. I think they would make a lot of money. I mean, Amazing Spider-Man 3 would probably be less exciting than Spider-Man 4, but Spider-Man 4, directed by Sam Raimi, which, I mean, he's literally working in the MCU. If Marvel Studios and Sony produced those movies, I think it would be game changers. Game changers. I think what they should do is they should do Spider-Man 4, they should do Amazing Spider-Man 3, taking place after No Way Home, kind of Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield going back to their universes from this movie and kind of continuing their story. And then you could do more bigger Spider-Man crossovers. They could do a huge live-action Spider-Verse movie. I know this is kind of a Spider-Verse movie, but it's kind of a light Spider-Verse movie. They could do a massive live-action Spider-Verse movie, like Avengers Endgame scale, and have Tom Holland, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield all in it full time, and have like Miles Morales appear from the Into the Spider-Verse movies. Of course, not animated, but they'd cast a live-action actor and have him be in it. And they could do a huge crossover. They could do The Inheritors if they wanted to, but I think it'd be cooler if they did someone else. But they could really open up the floodgates to do whatever they wanted with it. But what I'm most excited about, I mean, obviously this movie is going to be great. Sorry, my computer's making noise. Obviously this movie is going to be great, but I'm most excited for the next trilogy because this is the end of the John Watts trilogy. And I think the John Watts trilogy did exactly what it needed to do. It introduced him into the MCU. Shut up. It established a young kid Peter Parker, which is what we should have. I mean, that's what he was in the comic books. He was a teenager. So they let him be a teenager. You know, his voice is squeaky. He's young and he's irresponsible and kind of doesn't know what he's doing sometimes. I think that's good. They obviously had a direction that was more kid-friendly, more kiddish, and kind of silly. I really hope going into the next trilogy they let him mature a little bit. Let Peter Parker be a little bit older. Let the movies have a little bit more serious of a tone. Kind of dive into what it would look like a little bit. You know, have like a gang war, or have the black symbiote suit, and have Black Cat, and have Kraven the Hunter and Venom, and make it a little bit darker. I think that would be really awesome to see. And then, of course, I think after the next trilogy, make another trilogy, which is when you would introduce Miles Morales, I think. You'd have an adult Peter Parker. Maybe he's getting married to MJ, or maybe a new love interest or whoever. And then introduce Miles Morales and have him kind of mentor him and go from there. So I think the future of Spider-Man is bright, but the main thing I'm looking forward to is just seeing Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. I love both of them. Like, I know most people are excited for Tobey Maguire, but I'm actually really excited for Andrew Garfield. I loved him as Spider-Man. Like, Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 had their issues for sure, but I do love those movies. And the one thing that I kept saying, I just rewatched Amazing Spider-Man 2 the other day. I love about 80% of that movie. The problem is I hate the other 20%. Like, any scene with Harry Osborn, any scene that deals with Peter's parents, I hate. You could remove Harry Potter, oh my gosh. You could remove Harry Osborn, and you could remove Peter's parents from Amazing Spider-Man 2, and I would love that movie. Love it. Because Electro is super fun. Spider-Man is awesome. It's, in my opinion, the best movie costume we've had. I think Andrew Garfield is hilarious. I think him and Gwen Stacy's chemistry is perfect. That movie's awesome, and I'm very excited to see him in No Way Home. It's just going to be awesome. But I'm definitely going to I need to make room on this wall, or maybe I'll put it on this wall. I'm definitely going to get myself a poster for No Way Home and keep my tickets and frame them just like I did for these two, because the reason I did that was because Endgame was a huge cinematic event, and I went and saw it 8 times. I feel like Spider-Man No Way Home will probably be a similar thing, so really excited for it. But that's about it for this episode. I don't got much else. I went through my comic books. We talked about the movie. All I'll say to leave you guys on is go and check out Webheads. I know I keep plugging, but really excited about that. That's something we're going to be grinding and working real hard on, so go and check that out. I think you guys will really love that. So obviously Spider-Man related. Spider-Man is huge right now with No Way Home coming out, so I think this was the perfect time to launch a Spider-Man podcast. So go and check that out. Go and check out the rest of my Around the Boxes episode if you've missed them. And then, like I mentioned at the top of the show, go and follow me on TikTok. I will be posting Webhead shorts there. I'll be posting other stuff there, and if you don't already, go and follow me on Twitter as well. I will obviously be tweeting my thoughts on No Way Home out there, so go and check that out to see that. But from there, this is where I leave you guys. So thank you for tuning in. Like I mentioned at the top, if you enjoy Around the Boxes, if you enjoyed this episode, if you want to see more, hit that like button. And also, if you have ideas for things that you want to see in future episodes of this, like today, I kind of dived through the comic books featuring No Way Home villains, like things like that. If you wanted to see my whatever it might be. In the past, I've shown my signed comic collection. I've shown my first appearances. I've shown my Silver Age collection. Anything like that. If there's a certain part of my collection that you guys would like to see in a future episode, comment down below, and I might just do it. So I will see you guys in the next episode. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys on Monday for Webheads episode